on the legacy of the Soviet Union uranium production. I am Saifieva Zarina, the coordinator of WINCA network, and it's my pleasure to serve as your moderator today. So first of all, I would like to thank each and every one of you for joining us. So your presence here underscores the importance of understanding the complex issues arising from the Soviet Union nuclear activities and their continuing impact on the Black Sea and Central Asian regions. So our aim today is to discuss the legacy of the Soviet Union nuclear program, exploring its historical context and environmental consequences. This legacy includes a huge amount of radioactive waste, which has left a significant mark on our regions. So uranium mining and milling was an intensive industry in most of the Central Asian countries of the former Soviet Union, as well as Ukraine. As I said, it has left a legacy of radioactive residues. The development of most uranium deposits in Uzbekistan, Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan, and a part of Kazakhstan, Uzbekistan, Tajikistan, Kyrgyzstan. All these countries were faced with the problem of the safe management and remediation of the many sites affected by the operations of uranium mining and milling facilities. After these countries became independent, the problems of restructuring and decommissioning the mines and other uranium facilities arose at the same time. Another common problem is the lack of experience in safety assessment and rehabilitation and planning. National experience in developing environmental monitoring was also very limited, as was the analytical capacity of most of the laboratories in charge of monitoring programs at legacy sites and other areas of concern. To guide us through this exploration, we are honored to have our distinguished experts. They bring a wealth of knowledge from diverse fields, including history, environmental science, international relations, and security studies. So allow me to introduce them. Zarina Shoimardonova, she is a senior research officer, CBRN Safety and Security Agency. She is a member of WINCA network. She worked in different OSCE projects devoted to uranium legacy remediation in Central Asia. Now she works as a senior research officer at the CBRN Safety and Security Agency since early 2023 in the Public and International Affairs Department. She collaborates with organizations like IAEA, OSCE, and Europe Commission to enhance the coordination and resource sharing. During her work at the agency over the past 2 years, she has been actively involved in research efforts focused on the crucial topic on developing regulatory documents for the remediation of uranium waste industries of Tajikistan. The second expert is Svitlana Kulchytska. I'm sorry if I'm wrong with the pronunciation of family name. She's a technical expert, Joint Support Office. She's a member of Black Sea Women Nuclear Network. Svitlana is a technical expert for the Joint Support Office for the European Union for Ukraine. She is an executive with over 25 years of experience in nuclear industry, international cooperation in nuclear field, security regimes, and environmental remediation in the Ministry of Energy of Ukraine and National Nuclear Operator of Ukraine, Energoatom. She is Deputy Chairwoman of the Commission to verify the knowledge on nuclear and radiation safety in the Ministry of Energy of Ukraine, member of the Scientific and Technical Council of the Ministry of Energy, member of the IAEA working groups on environmental remediation, nuclear suppliers group, the International Non-Proliferation Regime, professional in nuclear energy management, improvement of legal nuclear framework, nuclear knowledge management, environmental remediation, and radioactive waste management, strategic planning, and international cooperation in nuclear sphere. Each of our speakers will share their insights into different aspects of the Soviet nuclear legacy. For their presentations, we will open the floor for questions and question and answers session where you can engage directly with them. So before we start, a few housekeeping items. Please ensure that your microphones are muted during the presentations to avoid background noise. If you have questions during the presentation, feel free to type them into the chat box, and we will address as many as possible during our question and answer session. This webinar will be, as we said, recorded. So, Zarina, the floor is yours. You can share your presentation with us.
Thank you, Zarina. One moment. Good afternoon, dear participants, dear colleagues. This is my pleasure to present and introduce to you the uranium legacy sites of Soviet Union and Tajikistan. First of all, to recall to history, it should be said that the widespread use of atomic energy of Soviet Union, which initiated in the late of 1940, resulted in the generation of large amounts of radioactive waste of uranium ores processing in a number of Soviet republics. CIS country deposited 350 million tons of enrichment tailings. In particular, in Tajikistan, Tajikistan became the country that turned into the main supplier of uranium for the Soviet nuclear program. The production of uranium concentrate. Sorry. Okay. The production of uranium concentrate in the Soviet Union was first started in 1944 at a pilot plant in Gafurov in Tajikistan. Then more than 6 uranium oxide production plants were built in the territory of Sud region. By the end of 1960, only the largest uranium processing facility remained in Chkalovsk. However, after the dissolution of the Soviet Union, uranium mining and processing in Tajikistan was stopped. Over the past 50 years, this facility has produced about 100,000 tons of uranium concentrate. It's resulting in the accumulation of more than 55 million tons of radioactive waste. This waste is stored at 10 sites with a total area of 180 hectares located near the populated areas. The condition of many of these sites poses a serious threat to environment and public health. This table shows us the characterization of radioactive tailings in northern Tajikistan. So for 26 years in lignite tailings, the mass of waste was 20.8 million tons, and Istiklal, it's a fabric of poor ores, mass of waste was 2 million tons, and in Adrasman, it's 0.4 million tons for 17 years. Okay. it makes sense that for environment and health of the health challenge in Tajikistan, it's a legacy contamination, impact of Tajikistan. For legacy contamination, it's environmental contamination and radioactive waste. The impact for the country, it's a health risk, it's exposure to radioactive materials from contaminated sites has raised health concerns among local population, increasing the risk of cancer and other problems. Environmental degradation, the uranium legacy has left behind a damaged environment with contaminated water resources, impacting to agriculture and ecosystem health. For social challenge, that is the uranium industry left behind a legacy of social problems, including a lack of economic opportunities in the affected region and the legacy of environmental injustice. To resolve the problem associated with uranium tailings, the government of Tajikistan has and the leadership of neighboring countries called on international organization to assist in the remediation. In this regard, the EURASES members countries adopted the interstate targeted program on remediation of member state territories affected by uranium mining industries, according to which the factory of poor ores, waste of and radioactive tailings of 1 to 4 stages were selected as a priority sites for remediation. In 2014, Tajikistan adopted national concept of Tajikistan on rehabilitation of uranium storage facilities for 2014-2024. And in 2020, the CBRN SSA agency in Tajikistan developed regulatory legal documents, norms and rules for remediation of territories contaminated with radioactive materials and taking into account international standards. In October 2022, remediation works were started. The works were carried out by state corporation Rosatom from Russia Federation, and the local subcontractor was company FICE. Here, as you can see, the table of state participation in percentage. So this is a factory of poor ores and tailing sites from 1 to 4. In Tabushar, it's a high risk area. And it's under the remediation process. The plan involves reshaping and covering the factory, improving tailings covers, dismantling structures, and decontamination. This is the map, Yellow Mountain coverage map in Istiklal. This is the Yellow Mountain. It looks after the start of remediation work. Here you can already see the changes in the surface of the site. Okay, this is the open pit. This open pit is an artificial pool code, as well as an exit pool. It is a mining pit with a flood. It's a mining pit and it's flooded with water. It is characterized by its dark gray color. The site used to pose a zero threat to the population as it was not controlled, and the population had access to it. Now it is under control of the relevant agencies. The next slide, this is a map of sites of tailings in Istiklal. Here you can also see the yellow mountain and exit pool. This is a site in Gafurov. The European Commission program has carried out of a systematic and comprehensive risk assessment, and according to the preliminary estimate, that this will cost around 25 million euros. The expenses of local funds in Suht region, about 10 hectares of the upper surface has been covered with a 1 meter layer and of sands and an emergency measure to prevent pollution and contamination. The remaining part needs to be covered. This is a site in Buston. In this site, the long concrete wall was built as a precautionary measure to prevent the public from entering in the site. It waste covers area of about 18 hectares and contains more than 3,000 tons of radioactive waste. This is Adresman site. More than 400,000 tons of radioactive waste were stored at the site, which was affected by mud flows between 2010-2020. As a result, some parts of the site were eroded, threatening the spread of radioactive materials. Okay, the main radiation and technical characterization of the fabric for poor ores tailings before and after rehabilitation works are given in this table. According to the results of the conducted remediation work at all radioactive waste tailings located on the territory of Istiklal city, a significant reduction of gamma radiation and radon isolation was achieved. There are some projects, 2 international projects are currently in operation to carry out rehabilitation works in Digmai in Istiklal tailings. About first one we already talked about, and the second one, it's a European Commission supported project. The project aims to reduce risk and emergencies arising from uranium legacy sites in Tabushar and Digmai, including radiation, toxic and geotechnical risk, and to improve future development in areas affected by uranium for former mining sites. The next project is OEC project. The project holds stakeholders engagement for uranium legacy remediation in Central Asia. Project, its OECA project delivered its activities for a safe governance of uranium legacy sites with active engagement of local communities living in the pilot area, aiming to reduce uranium waste risk to their health, livelihood, and environment. The Tajik government is on board, and the CBRN Safety and Security Agency was the implementation partner. The key points of the project is awareness raising information. The project share information about the risk of uranium waste and radiation safety. It's get local communities involved, work together with the stakeholders to help communities. Okay, Within this project, in May 2022 in Dushanbe, the final workshop was conducted, and with the population and stakeholders in solving the problems of tailings in Suht region. The meeting discussed the current state of uranium tailings and familiarized the participants with the national concept. Also, were discussed the social and economic problems of the region, where the legacy sites allocated a proposal to improve the living conditions of the population. Also, within this project, the assessment was conducted to involve the gender community to this project, and it's decided that the women from livelihoods will be involved. Unfortunately, the project was suspended due to the some international world maybe situation, and it is expected that in phase 3 the plans will be implemented maybe in the end of this year. The project will start it again. Sorry, this is the component of this project by UNDP in Tajikistan. The achievement of the UNDP component project is repairing the roof of the secondary school in Istiklal. It's located near the Yellow Mountain, and insertion of high fence around the tailing storage area of Gafurov, and the installation of warning sites in the vicinity of various tailings. And that's all. And it makes sense that it is important to ensure transparency of the remediation process and inform the public about the results of the work for radiation safety among the population as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Zarina. Thank you, Zarina, for so interesting and comprehensive presentation. As I said before, we will have a answer and question session after the presentations, and then you can ask your questions. Can I ask the participants to включить, как будет? To
turn on cameras.
Yes, turn on cameras to have a photo, group photo.
It will be good if Zarina will stop sharing her presentation.
Yeah, I will try. One moment.
Don't worry. Там где-то есть меню, выпадающее, или сверху, или снизу, где перестать делиться.
Сейчас, минутку, извините.
Ничего страшного, Зарина, не волнуйтесь.
Я могу как пост, да? Stop participant sharing. О, я могу. Хорошо.
Вы убрали, да?
Да, все хорошо.
Thank you.
Okay, let's do a photo.
Please
turn on cameras, yes, who is able
on
to.
your cameras, yeah.
Okay, I guess we are ready, yeah? Okay, 1, 2, 3. One more. 1, 2, 3. Done.
Thank you so much. So, Natalia, do we have the Svitlana with us?
Well, we will try to to do some interesting way how to make her presentation, because there is a lack of energy in Ukraine. That's and big destroyment of energy infrastructure by Russian Federation there. So there is very big limitation, like people like have 4 hours per day electricity according to the schedule. And unfortunately, this time there is no electricity in her at her home at all. But she sent us a presentation and she sent us a recording. So I will try to combine the presentation together with recording because it's a little bit separate. So let me. Let me try to do it. Okay, I will start share her presentation. In a way, if I not be able to record it properly, I will just read her notes that she prepared for us, okay? Sounds good, Zarina?
Yeah. Yeah, it's good.
Zarina, yeah, we have two Zarinas.
Yeah.
And the last conference, actually, we have two Madalina, and it was also funny. We're supposed to have like.
About great support and donors.
Okay, this is second part. Can you hear her voice? No. Stop viewing. Share sound. Share. Okay. Can you please let me know? Can you hear her in the Zoom? Okay.
Good afternoon, dear colleagues.
Yeah.
My name is Svitlana Kulchytska. Firstly, I would like
Now
to
it's okay.
apologize for this type of presentation. Just maybe you know, we have in Ukraine big problem with electricity, and this is one of the opportunity to make this presentation. Once again, I'm apologize, and let's start. My presentation concerning remediation process for former uranium production facility in Ukraine. Maybe you hear or now we have in Ukraine big Prydniprovsky, it's former Prydniprovsky chemical plant. It was uranium production facility in Ukraine, where now currently in a remediation program. It was one of the largest uranium production facility in the former USSR and also in Europe. These enterprises provide activity till 1990 and processing of uranium and thorium ores from various deposits of the former USSR and socialist bloc countries. And this caused contamination of facilities and areas at the site with natural radionuclide of uranium thorium series, as well as the formation of the significant amounts of uranium ore processing waste. There are 8 tailings storage facility which contains about 42 million tons of uranium ore processing waste, as well as a large number of contaminated buildings and infrastructure objects of the former uranium production. The performance of function of safe maintenance should be ensured by state financial support, of course. But unfortunately, we see that it's also a big challenge for our country. Currently, responsible for supervision of this site is Ministry of Energy of Ukraine, and of course regulatory body, State Nuclear Regulatory Inspectorate of Ukraine. We have operator of this site, it's State Enterprises Barrier, which is licensee of State Nuclear Regulatory Inspection. Next slide is current understanding. We have several heavy contaminated buildings which were used in past for uranium extraction that have to be decontaminated. We have sedimentation ponds used for storage of contaminated norm residues. We have several tailing. We have other remaining uranium production facilities that can be decontaminated for potential reuse or demolition. We have on this site the largest tailing, Dniprovskaya, that covered by phosphogypsum that currently can be potentially recycled into new cover for new cover. And what next hazard? Groundwater contamination is significant, and significant portion of toxic materials are mixed with solid and uranium residues. Next slide, main outcomes of the state programs to support remediation of the site. It can be noted that no decommissioning activity were carried out at this site after its uranium production was ceased. Site operator company Barrier was established just in 2000. The first more or less systematic work for site characterization and first priority and emergency cleans up activity were started in 2003. The monitoring and surveillance program were established after 2005. During recent 20 years, there are many site characterization and preliminary first priority action were carried out. The priority hazards objects were identified on a basic preliminary safety assessment done with the assistant Sweden and German partners using EAA methodology. However, due to war and economical conditions, all activity planned for implementation in frame of the state remediation program was determined. Next slide. On this side, we can see general gamma dose survey results, which show the following. The territory of this site can be divided on two parts. One part more clearly, and the main radiological hazards located at the southern section. The range of gamma dose rate varied from in a range general background level 0.1 to 0.2 microsievert per hours to 5 till 10 microsievert per hours. The highest gamma dose rate are in the building of the former uranium production facility. Next slide just demonstrate general view of the tailing facility, how it looks like. Some of the are still have no protection cover. Tailing Dniprovskaya covered with phosphogypsum, as I said. Some tailing covered by forest or located on the steppe slope in the Dnieper River Valley. Next slide, tailing central yards. This is just other fragment of the tailing, which surface covered by forest and has significant surface contamination. And the next slide, you can see picture. More significant hazards at this site are several buildings used in the past for uranium extraction. Its decontamination and demolition are a real challenge to remediate the site for it's safe for the use. Inside of the building near some apparatus, the gamma dose rate may exceed 1,000 microsievert per hour. Next slide. According to the recently carried out radiological hazard characterization study, the highest dose are potentially expected for remediation work at the building 103. The potential dose exposure may be exceeding 1 microsievert per hour. The main reason of such high dose, the large amounts of the dried radiochemical solution are still accumulated in the tanks and extraction columns. The contamination and collection of the all split materials have to be carried out before any dismantling and demolition procedure will be potentially applied for remediation of these buildings. In next slide, I tried to put some remediation policy and strategy. What we can see is this, it's some activity for special legal and regulatory framework. It's providing regulatory safety condition, and conventional enterprises have to be involved in remediation process, of course. Also, it's international and national activity in different projects that helping to develop and implement activity. Also the waste management should be carried out according to the existing international practice, of course, and national standards and regulation regarding uranium legacy site management and remediation should be harmonized with the EAA and European safety standards.
Okay, let me return this additional recording.
On this site, take into account that for several years state funding of remediation works has not been carried out for valid reason. The main works on the site are implemented in the funds of foreign donors, such as European Commission, Swedish International Development Cooperation Agency, Norway, etc., etc. On the next slide, I would like to say about few words about legal and regulatory framework that we should update. Currently, a lot of work to improve the legislation has already been done and continues to be done. For example, the draft law regarding the legal status of this site has been developed and currently prepared for review for compliance with the European Union legislation. Also updated and improved some set of existing regulatory documents allowing established sites relevant standards and safety criteria. Updated specific law related to radiation protection and other. Next slide. Okay, come back to support of European Commission. We have a big problem, and the European Commission Instrument for Nuclear Safety Cooperation has been implemented since 2013. This program consists three phases. The first phase, it was long-term decommissioning and rehabilitation strategy that was developed. Next phase, urgent measure to eliminate the imminent danger to workers at the PHP site. In next phase, support initial decontamination and decommissioning work on the. During the implementation of this project, which involved developing the strategy for rehabilitation of this site, number of safety issues were identified. Considering these issues, European Commission decided to support the implementation of urgent measures under this project in 4 areas, such as improvement of legislative and regulatory framework for uranium legacy site, also stabilization and localization of radiological risk sources at the site, including the establishment of controlled zone and temporary storage site, sealing of radiological risk sources in most contaminated building, and reconstruction of the ventilation of system in the laboratory of state enterprises barrier. The implementation of the task, European Commission is currently ongoing. During the implementation of the waste management plan, which are located outside the radiation controlled areas, will be relocated to new bills disposal facilities. The estimated time of completion of the work at the end of 2025. Next slide about design and construction of new on-site storage facility. Was a lot preparatory work done. Currently, feasibility study for site selection has been developed. Was analyzed for accommodation option. A site was selected at the area of the existing tailing. Also, Ministry of Energy of Ukraine permission for the design of the storage facility. Was carried out topogeodesic survey of the site, and land documents were issued, and engineering and geological survey has been completed. Currently, this work actively provides the contractors organization, and we existing this work is the end, as I say, of 2025. That is briefly, very briefly about this site. As I understand,
Yes, all the recordings that provided by Svitlana and her presentation. I hope you will enjoy it. And I think I saw that she managed to join us, and then we can start discussion.
Hi, Svitlana. Do you hear us?
Probably there is still very low level of internet connections, and well, if
So
she
anyway,
managed.
thank you. Thank you. I'm sorry, Natalia. Did you want to say something? No. Thank you, Svitlana, for your presentation, especially in such kind conditions with limited energy, with limited internet connection. The presentation is very interesting, and as I saw, we have a very common problems on these issues with the legacy of with the uranium legacy. So now we have time to question and answer session. If you have questions, so we can ask our experts now. Yes, Svitlana is writing that you can write the questions in chat box so we can discuss that. So, okay, if anybody have questions.
I have questions. Can I give?
Yes, of course, Zumra.
Thank you very much. Presentation was very interesting, 2 presentations, but I have questions to Zarina. I have very listening your presentations, and now I have first my questions is it is possible to obtain uranium from dumps and tailings? It is possible now.
From tailings, I
Yes.
think no. Oh, yes.
Yes, it's possible, but it's very expensive.
Yes, but maybe it's not so reasonable to obtain uranium from tailings.
Okay, if it is possible, how percent uranium we can take from these dams or tailings? Maybe you know?
I know that enrichment uranium ores consist from 25 to 30 %. Sorry, I lost my you about.
What percent you said? 20,
25,
30%?
30%.
It is so low. It is so
Yeah.
okay.
I think.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
Good evening. I have question to Zarina. Zarina, could you please tell briefly about the remediation measures? How do you carrying out the remediation work at these objects of Soviet legacy? Just briefly, just to understand how it works.
Remediation measures
Работы по ремедиации, по восстановлению вот этих объектов. Ну вот вы указывали, что у вас там remediation было, remediation work, по-моему, и вот я хотела немного узнать, как вот она осуществляется, эта работа, то есть там снимается какой-то, ну то есть у нас на наших объектах Семипалатинского полигона там тоже идет работы по ремедиации, просто вот как бы хотелось узнать, как вот с вашей стороны специалисты работают над ремедиацией.
May I ask may I respond in Russian? Sorry.
If it's possible in English, please.
Yeah, please
Okay.
let's speak English because at least you know,
Yes.
maybe we could translate because many of our people, you know, don't speak Russian, and
Okay.
I think to be more inclusive, maybe.
Okay, the remediation. Yes. Sorry. I interrupted someone, sorry.
Just please continue.
Okay, I have no any specific information about remediation process in our tailings, but as I know that the work that carries out in Istiklal and Tabushar of Tabushar, this is the high risk tailings in our it's a very one of the most radiation hazards object, and it's this Istiklal factory of oil has a big volume of accumulated materials. Sorry, I have a problem with my laptop. This something appeared, and these materials is represented mainly by coarse sandy fraction of light gray and gray yellow color. And as I know, they in my presentation it was showed that it's remediated by the sand. Я, извините, не знаю, как будет насыпь. Делается насыпь, насыпь из песка с цементом, sorry, the surface and sloped. It should be protected from the wind, of water erosion. It's something like this. Sorry, I don't know the measures, the specific how they do it in a technical part as a technician.
Thank you very much for your explanation.
Thank you for your question. We have one question in our chat to Zarina as well. So I will read it. Can Zarina please revisit and explain who is funding the cleanup of uranium tailings in Tajikistan? To what extent in the Russian government or Rosatom funding cleanup? Zarina, questions to you.
Yes. Я извиняюсь, у меня здесь что-то появляется, я не могу слышать нормально. Sorry, can you repeat the question? Sorry.
Yes, of course. Can Zarina please revisit and explain who is funding the cleanup of uranium tailings in Tajikistan? To what extent is the Russian government or Rosatom funding cleanup?
As I understood, the question is about the share funding between the engagement countries. This is the main. This is the multilateral project. It's mostly funded by Russia Federation. It's 75%. Should be covered by Russia, 10% by Kazakhstan, 10% by Kyrgyzstan, and 5% by Tajikistan. This is division.
This is only for one site, yes, Zarina?
Yes,
only
this
for
is
Tabushar.
Only for Tabushar, yes.
I just want to clarify, we have about 10, I think 9 or 10 tailings. Yes, and only one is now is like in good condition. It was, as Zarina said, was covered funding by our neighboring states and by Russian Federation, but others needed to be rehabilitated. So do we have the questions? We have a question to Svitlana. Can Svitlana, Natalia, can she answer on chat or in here with us?
I don't know. It depends on the level of internet connection. She's typing. So she's typing something actually. You can read. So my question was, what was the challenges on the site you were faced, and what was the reaction of local population? And she's answer, the most large challenge is lack of funding. We have huge support of local authority and population. And actually in this presentation it's not visible, but this former uranium production, it's a very, very big facility. You saw this on the map, but as well, we actually have tailings outside of this facility, very huge one, like it's about 4, and I don't remember right now how many cubic square meters like all of this contains together, but it's also a very big problem. One thing that we are very lucky is that to them more or less in good conditions, but still there is a big problem with water coverage of them. So all of those activities, unfortunately, what is left after Soviet Union for us as a heritage, not in the best shape, I would say.
Thank you, Natalia. Yes, Margarita. Yeah, Margarita, you can.
Thank you very much. I have 2 questions for both speakers, and I will give Zarina a little break because everybody's asking her questions. I'll ask a question to Svitlana. First of all, Svitlana, thank you so much for joining us. You know, despite the lack of power in Kiev, you were able to participate, and it really makes us very feel that, you know, very special that you found time and energy for us. I really, really thank you for that. So my understanding that the uranium obviously was produced in Ukraine, and it was also, I believe that it was also produced before the war, right? There was also production going on of uranium. I have is do this sites pose threats during war? What are the challenges? Is the possibility that, you know, there may be some additional challenges stemming from that? Are they, I mean, are they being protected now? I mean, there is some physical protection, right? You mentioned. So would you just maybe give us just a short summary of the current status and what is happening there now as we speak?
Well,
maybe Natalia, while Svitlana is
maybe
typing, maybe you could say, because you're probably.
Well, which war do you mean? Because actually, according to her notes, in general, building of this plant started in 40s. So it's, I think, after Second World War. And it was under operation about 60 years. And later, when it was collapsed of Soviet Union, it's actually this very huge facility become of the собственность, то же самое, property of different organizations. The problem is the location is a Dnipro region, Dnipropetrovsk region, if you will find on the map. And the problem with this current facility is that some tailings is actually next to the Dnipro River. So they're taking water for the voiding of the pollution, like all of this from the tailing when it's becoming dry. So, and all of it's like connected with other things to the Dnipro River. As far as I heard, it's more or less it's okay, saved. Before war, all of these areas was actually with physical protection system to avoid the destroyment from the idea of Margarita, maybe you can help me because I literally don't know how to say this in English. Там были, ну, знаешь, как-то бедные районы, и когда разбирали завод, там было очень много металла, и металл был загрязнен. То есть это же хвостохранилище, оно покрыто, ну, водная плеса есть, да, и там затапливали загрязненные вообще-то печи доменные. То есть это прям тяжело, много металла. И люди в свое время, в 90-х, вытаскивали весь этот металл на продажу. И мы, когда я была министром энергетики, мы тогда основали программу, которая покрывала вопросы безопасности. Мы это все перекрыли, чтобы не было вот этих черных копателей, которые вот лезут в грязные места и вытягивают это все загрязненный металл. Можешь как-то перевести?
Yeah, I will briefly, and I think that problem is also common for other countries of the former Soviet Union where the uranium tailings are located. At the sites which were mentioned in one of the sites which was mentioned in Svitlana's presentation.
Prидniprovsky chemical plant was one huge factory. And in Soviet Union, and after the Soviet Union collapse, that becomes like I can't say decommissioning. It's just simply have no funding to support all of this. So they start to taking away all of this part of contaminated metal, and because of the purity.
The lack of the poor conditions at that time actually encouraged people to go to the sites, and especially those who were doing the scrap metal scavenging.
Yes.
And some of that metal obviously was contaminated, and I think that was a problem common for. And I will say a couple words about it. So basically, that was a major challenge and a major safety concern. Correct?
Yes. Yeah, but what ministry did in the enterprise, they actually located these areas, so there is like a fence, support, and it was still working even during the wartime. I didn't hear that it was actually attacked somehow or anything was happened to the facility. So there wasn't, thank God, any cases. But what Svitlana shows in her presentation, all of this facility has very high-level contaminated territories that with support of European Union, there is a project how to remediate it or structurize, I would say, all this contamination, at least in some places, do not avoid the spreading. The problem is it's like, let's say there is like big factories that have 20 buildings. What happened after this power industry company collapsed, bankruptized? They actually using all of this. They make like separate enterprises from all of those buildings, and there's like different owners, which is a little bit hard even to cooperate with them in this regard, because like there's like state property, private property, like corporate property for different buildings formally before one facility. And it's also makes some challenge on negotiation and communication as well. But like for the last 5 years, have really, really good progress, and European Union now is helping to remediate.
And I had a question for Zarina, if I still may ask a question. So, Zarina, I believe that I heard your presentation about uranium tailings before when I was actually, I think, in Tajikistan. And at that time, I think there was a campaign by the OSCE to provide the outreach to population near the uranium tailings and contaminated areas at the uranium tailings sites. Could you please just in your personal view, could you tell us if this campaign was successful and it actually helped increase the awareness of the local population about the dangers of uranium tailings?
Thank you for your questions. I think, in my opinion, the project was successful because of the significant work was done. The project was success because of the we established a working group with new stakeholders, which we determined during the project implementation. We involved two new groups. It was PHC, public health care workers. They was involved after assessment because of we decided and assessed that the PHC mostly working with the householders, and they disseminate information about radiation safety, about measurements of radiological safety. And the second one that there was not involved is a committee of emergency in Tajikistan. They also involved to the working groups. And also, I can say that we continue the CBRN agency work with the school children. I think that it's also very important because of it's critical because of during the work we found that the children has limited information about the area where they live, the hazards that can hazards near their living, and we work with them. And I think as for me, I saw that the mind and knowledge of our stakeholders, our population, especially children, was changed due to the information that we were provided them.
Thank you, Zarina. And I would like to add that the work with population and to share this information about radiation in our region, in our country, in Tajikistan, because our tailings are very close to houses, to where population is living, so they have access to their territories, and very often they use the water from their sites, and it's very dangerous. And we have a small lake where small children were swimming. So it's very important to arise that problems, and the population know about that danger causing the tailing dam. Do we have the questions? I don't see any in chat. If we don't have a question, so do we are closing our webinar? Yes, Margarita.
I have another question, but I don't know if you want to close, that's okay. But if there is room for one more question. So I really think that it's a very important issue to discuss.
The microphone.
Margarita, you are muted.
Okay, so I think it's a very good topic what we are addressing today, because it shows how the nuclear programs they it starts from the uranium mining. So basically there are impacts, there are also, of course, there are benefits of nuclear energy, but there are also sort of side effects which affect again, indigenous people in many countries, mostly underprivileged, poor villages who live near the sites. And just recently, I think yesterday or a couple of days ago, President Japarov of Kyrgyzstan, I think, approved the law on resuming uranium mining in Kyrgyzstan. And I don't know if Aida is here, maybe she could comment on that too. Not to call on you, Aida, but so and I think we also had a very good presentation from Yelena Panova. I don't think she's here, about improving the technologies of uranium mining, which are safer now. So, but I also think that when we address safety issues, we also should consider security issues related to uranium tailings. And this is what I've been trying to address, because I think if we look at this as security threats, for example, environmental security threats, transboundary security threats, because, for example, in Kyrgyzstan, at the largest uranium site in Mylisu, if for some, if the river, Mylisu River gets contaminated, radionuclides will go down the stream and they will end up in the Fergana Valley, and that could create certain set of, transboundary threats, and maybe even the, which may lead to other problems. So I think that what really we could do as a community is to try to look at this problem again, because it's very dear to my heart. I was born at the former site of uranium tailing site in Kyrgyzstan, so this thing is always very important to me. And I think that we have a unique set of experts from two regions, who could actually provide very interesting insights, and we could maybe provide even recommendations or policy recommendations how to address this future, the problems stemming from uranium tailings in both regions. Just like, it's not a question, I guess, more like a comment. So I think that we really, it's a good discussion that we had, and I think it's worth definitely further research and maybe a joint collaboration on that.
Thank you, Margarita. Thank you for so very interesting insight. Yes, I didn't no, I didn't think about the security concerns regarding the tailing dams, but yes, it's possible to see on this issue on that way. So, does anybody any?
Yeah.
Yeah, Diana.
I just wanted to say thank you so much for the presentations and the questions and the answers. They were very informative and very interesting. It's also not really a question, but bouncing off of what Margarita said, I imagine there's a really significant colonial legacy from uranium mining in Central Asia, and it's similar in North America as well. And I was wondering if we could potentially maybe in the group chat or even now share any anecdotes in terms of the health impacts, like personal stories of what we know, or resources studies that have been conducted, especially medical studies, researching the longitudinal health impacts, maybe even transgenerational health impacts of uranium mining on these communities for the purposes of nuclear production. I mean, not immediately. I just mean if anybody knows any studies that were conducted, then we could share them potentially.
Yes, very interesting. Does anybody have any?
There are a couple documentaries that you could watch, like videos actually produced by, for example, about the
Sorry, I think the connection is down.
Yes, it looks like I have the same.
I have the problem with internet connections. I'm sorry.
Margarita as well, she's just stuck on the one word. I think, yeah, we can share this information after the meeting because we can ask Svitlana if she has this information. Well, because my personal job was physical protection, so I don't I don't have it, any kind of reports. Maybe Zarina have some researches from her territory from about influence to people health. Of those territories, so we will check.
Yeah, that would be great. Thank you.
I will check if we have some. I don't know if we have researches about the medical impact in our country, but yes, I will check, and if I have something, I will share, of course.
Thank you.
Hi, girls. I think we have some researches made in National Nuclear Center of Republic of Kazakhstan. There is Institute of Radiation Safety, and I know some laboratory made the researches, medical researches, but mostly connected with nuclear test site, Semipalatinsk.
Very interesting, Anna.
I will find information. It is Kenjina Laura. She was in Tajikistan 2 years ago, and she made presentation on it.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank
I
you.
will find information and send it.
Thank you.
Okay, it will be very good, Anna. So, does anybody want to say something?
If I may, as a president of the Black Sea Women, I would say that our first joint webinar with women in nuclear in Central Asia was very successful because we have very good discussion and like it looks like this topic is very important to everybody of us, and we have some external listeners, of course, and we are very keen that everybody join us despite that summer is already started and many people on vacations. So Zarina, I think we can congratulate us together because like we invited everybody to join our webinar during icons. Do you remember that video that we made? And it's successfully ended the story.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you, everybody.
So,
Thank you.
Yes, I want to thank all our speakers with their sharing their experience and all participants for your engagement. Yeah, I think it was very good. So, thank you for joining us.
Okay, if you're saying yes, I'm stopping the recording, yes?
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.